Well, showrooms across the country will be charged up over electric vehicles in the next few months. But if you want to take one home, what can you expect? What special equipment might you need? Clean Skies' Sean Shepard takes us to Atlanta, Georgia to meet two men who already know what it takes to go electric.
And we're off to make the internet a better place for everybody.
Stephen Currie lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He works for an internet service provider and was the first in the city to own the all-electric Wheego Whip, a low-speed vehicle that seats 2 passengers and gets 30 miles to the charge. He's also exactly the type of customer manufacturers of electric vehicles, or EVs, are targeting.
One thing that I was happy about when I bought it, and even more so, is because of the situation in the Gulf.
His concern for the environment led him to purchase an EV. But along with his duty to be green, he had more practical motives.
I kind of thought, hey, this will be a good test to see how real these are and if it's really something that's, going to happen in the future.
A future that's fast approaching. In a few months, Nissan is releasing the all-electric Leaf, Chevy the Volt. Tesla's Roadster has already hit the market, and Ford will have an all-electric version of its popular Focus available next year. But when it comes to EVs, people want to know how, when, and where will I be able to charge up? A recent report from the Electric Power Research Institute showed that most people would prefer to charge their car at home. That's how Currie is doing it. You pop this in and then just let it go overnight.
That's exactly right.
This is called level 1 charging. Currie plugs into a standard 110-volt outlet and the juice flows. He says it takes 8 hours to charge the battery from 20 to 100%, and that when it comes to charging, you have to develop a routine, one he admits to sometimes falling out of.
Lo and behold, I'll forget to plug it in at night, and I'll come out the next morning to go to work and realize my car's not charged.
He says when that happens, he drives his gasoline-powered Volvo. But routines like the one Currie is talking about take effort and repetition. People want ease and convenience when it comes to their cars. And with it only taking a matter of minutes to fill a gas tank, EVs are a tough sell.
So, how can I help you?
Don Francis is the coordinator for the Atlanta Clean Cities Coalition. He has over 40 years of automotive experience, many of them in the electric vehicle industry. So it's no surprise when people ask him,
how long does it take to charge the car? What I usually tell them is 15 seconds. Because that's about how long it takes me to get the plug out of the charging station and put into the vehicle, and I come back in the house. Do I care it takes 6 hours to charge the car? No. I'm like just a typical user. The time factor is not an issue. It's education.
Francis is working to get charging stations into the homes of future EV owners. This is familiar territory for him. In the 90s, he was head of Georgia Power's now defunct electric transportation program. During that time, he installed over 78 charging stations around the state, stations that were to serve electric vehicles on their way to market. Trouble is, they never made it.
The new SAE J1772 standard.
But he says that even back then they realized home charging was critical to the success of EVs. The charging station, or electric vehicle supply equipment, is the interface between the vehicle and the power in the house. It controls when and how the vehicle is charged.
What I tell people is, think of it as putting a dryer outlet in your garage. That's how difficult it is. Because that's the kind of power you would pull out to the garage. You're going to put this appliance, the EVSC, on the wall, connected to that power supply.
But installing one of these comes with a hitch. You need a permit, which in some cases can take weeks or months. There's also the issue of capacity. You see, the electric vehicle load, or how much power it pulls, is significant. It falls somewhere between a water heater and a heat pump. Newer homes will probably be able to handle the increased loads, but older ones may need some upgrading, which can get expensive. And speaking of cost, how will all of this charging affect a homeowner's electric bill? Stephen Currie has carefully tracked his since owning his EV. The result?
I've seen about an $8 or $9 increase, monthly increase from charging my car versus when I didn't have it.
Not bad, but remember he charges his vehicle using a standard 110-volt outlet. And the Whip's battery capacity is much smaller than, say, that of the Nissan Leaf or Chevy Volt. You also have to take into account driving habits. Currie mainly drives his back and forth to work. A person that drives more often for longer distances and at higher speeds will require frequent charge-ups. Which leads to the question about charging away from home. With only months remaining before the arrival of the Volt and the Leaf, can a charging infrastructure be developed in time?
We're starting to talk to employers, to apartment complex operators about putting charging stations in again. Does it have to happen quickly? Pretty much. People will have to move pretty rapidly. But if you get the charging stations in at home, that gets everybody up and running.
As for Currie, well, he's an EV believer. He says he'll bump up to the Whip's full-speed version scheduled to be released this fall.
The fact that the full-speed vehicle can go on the highway and get a little bit better range, I think if I had that, I would never drive my other car. I think I would be exclusively driving the Wheego.
Reporting from Atlanta, Sean Shepard, Clean Skies News.
Francis says there will be level 3 fast charging systems available, but not for your home. They'll need high voltage to work, and manufacturers will look to place them in commercial locations like restaurants and shopping malls.